Well, hello everyone. So glad that you could join us. And in my studio today is a dear friend and brilliant mind and generous heart, Carla Archer, who is joining me for a conversation about easy content creation, which sounds like an oxymoron. Because not that people are morons, but the fact that it is a contradiction in terms for most people. Content creation is very hard. We're saying it can actually be very easy, and we have simplified it down to really the easiest way to do content creation. And you're going to hear from Carla very soon because I want you to hear more from her than from me. But where this idea for this particular interview came from is I've always talked about we must, if we're doing the selling from your comfort zone strategy, we have to know our ideal audience and their main problem, right? Main problem. Well, if somebody says to me, well, Stacey, there's only so much I can say about the one problem, I would say, yep, that's true. So what we want to do is dig down even deeper, which I do talk about in the book, to what are the sub problems or the adjunct problems or the things that become problems because they have the main problem. And when we start to list those out, what we notice is that you might wind up with 3 or 4 broad categories of things that are problems because of the main problem. And I call those categories actually pillars. They're what is holding up the main problem in place. And maybe the main problem started and then these pillars got built, or maybe sometimes the pillars got built and then that resulted in the main problem. It doesn't matter. There's always going to be the main problem and the pillars. And Carla, speaking for you, Carla, I know you agree with me. And I know last year you had a plan for creating content, and it was a good one. It still allowed you to plan ahead, and it was relatively easy. But based on this concept of these pillars, you've made this year's content creation even easier. So tell us what you did last year, and then tell us how you're making it easier for you this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for inviting me in to share, because what I do now stems from everything I've learned from you and selling from your comfort zone, and what I've learned from you as a mentor for a number of years. And I sometimes wouldn't give the credit to necessarily, or I was struggling with my own limiting beliefs about making a choice about who my ideal audience was going to be. I get stuck a little bit in perfection mode. And when you do, you may hear that and go, yeah, how important is it? But it is so important, because as Stacey teaches us, when you are aligned with yourself and with your audience and with your products and services, you'll easily be able to discover what these pillar problems are for your ideal audience, because generally it's something you've experienced, because you're relating to that individual and you're aligned with yourself and you're aligned with them. And so when I did that, it was kind of an exploration as well. I love that you tell us to play, explore, and discover. And although I didn't know last year exactly what everything was going to look like, I knew that there was some foundational skills I had developed, and I could see in my ideal audience that they were also struggling in those types of areas. So I decided month to month, and I did start out with a plan. I laid out 12 different things that I felt like were foundational. And as I experienced month to month and got to know my audience that much more, sometimes it shifted the position. I thought maybe month 8 now would become month 6 topic, just based on what I was getting for feedback. So allow yourself some flexibility and space when you're creating content. Well, then I chose one topic a month. Let's say, for example, I talked about time management, because I felt like, well, you know what, that's a big one. You share with us in your book how to manage our time more effectively so we can be more productive and more consistent. And so the conversation, my posts were all in and around that topic. Same with my lives and any guests that I would bring in to support that particular theme. I would also set time aside to batch the content, because when I got myself in the frame of mind of thinking about what was important for me, what the pillar problems were for my audience, how I could support them, I could create content for the whole month in an hour or two of time. And that way it was all scheduled and I didn't have to worry about that happening, because what I used to do was go, oh, shoot, it's the end of the day. I haven't posted anything. And then that just kind of would sometimes crush my spirit. And I would just feel like I sucked at what I was doing and I wouldn't want to do it anymore. And so what had happened is that it really freed up my energy space to know that, okay, I've created content. I can count on myself that it's scheduled and it's going to show up to support and give value to my audience. And in the meantime, I can start to be learning something else for myself to grow and evolve my business month after month. So after doing that for 12 months, I've created a content library for my community that I can use as a resource now, and that they have available. So this year, I took a look at who my audience is and really what evolved as real pillars for them. And I selected 4 of them to concentrate on in 2024. Now, doing that's allowed me to invite special guests like yourself, Stacey, to my community once a month, because I believe that you can use a lot of tools and systems, but if you're not aligned with yourself, all of that doesn't really matter a hill of beans. So that's really an important, topic that we're going to be talking about. And I saw that come out of the growth of my community and saw that that's really where they are and what would support them. And so I was able to decide what week 1, 2, 3, and 4 were going to look like every month, which allowed me to know what's going to be happening every month, to be able to schedule, to be able to create content to support that, and to set up like the background, scheduling the video, links and all of those things that allow me to use my time more effectively and efficiently.
Well, there you got it. Okay. It may not have sounded simple. It's simple. We're going to break it down and share with you exactly what she created and now what you can create, which is what she's doing this year, what I'm doing this year. So last year, and nothing is wasted. Like nothing is wasted. I would say that Carla, by going through 12 different topics last year, it gave you both knowledge about your audience that you might not have had, really had the ability to get a lot of feedback. You now have 12 months, 12 months of content that can become a masterclass for you.
Truly.
It's recorded. It's done. It's there. It's like she could walk away and never do another webinar. And she's got plenty. She could break it down and do 12 webinars. She could break it into, 4 webinars, combine 3 of those months of content together. Who knows? But it was not a waste. And I'm saying this to everybody. If you've got content you've already done, but now you're going to hear us tell you another idea and you're going to decide to do this idea, it isn't that you have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just repurpose it in some other way and sell it if it's already done. And what Carla and I are both doing is we've identified the 4 sub pain points or the 4 pillars of our audience. My audience, she has her audience, and I'm only creating 4 months of content this year. She's only creating 4 months of content this year. In my case, because of my alignment marketing formula, easily breaking down into 4 parts: alignment with yourself, alignment with what you're selling, alignment with your audience, and alignment with what you tell your audience, your content. January is all about tips for how to get back in alignment with yourself when you're out of alignment. February will be tips about how to get back in alignment with what you're selling. You can know where this is going. March is going to be how to get in alignment with your audience, and April's going to be how to get in alignment with your messaging to your audience. And you might say, well, then what happens in May? Well, I start January's content all over again. Why? Because in the meantime, I'm building new audience. My previous audience might not have been ready to hear that content 4 months earlier. People who did hear it, did consume it, it's time for a refresher. So I want to be clear to those of you who are going that, no, I have to keep coming up with new stuff. No, your audience only wants tips to deal with 4 things max, maybe only 3. So, Carla, do you mind sharing with us what are the 4 topics of your content this year?
Well, my 4 topics, because I'm working with entrepreneurs to streamline their busy business operations and really be able to leverage your time, I'm focusing on using automation tools, both free and paid for, and I'm focusing on using email and using a lead magnet, focusing on Pinterest, and I'm focusing on being in alignment with yourself. Because, as I mentioned, if you're not in alignment with yourself, none of those other things are going to work for you. So I think what you teach is a really important component. And so those are the 4 topics that we're going to be talking about.
Okay. So, what you heard was Carla and I saying the solutions we're going to provide to the problem. So, the problems of my audience are they lack confidence, they lack time management, they lack validation, they lack support, they lack leads, they lack content, they lack sales. Like, my audience has a lot of lacks, but I will be able to address all of them within the 4 month period as I talk about how to get back in alignment. 4 ways. Carla's audience lacks, their big problem is they're not making sales. And some of their sub problems are they don't know how to be productive. They don't know how to manage time. They don't know how to manage automation to save time, right? Did I get
Yeah.
that right?
They don't understand a marketing strategy. They don't understand how the pieces fit together and what to do first or what can serve them the most.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we did is we listed out all those issues and then we figured out which of their issues fall under which of the 4 categories that we've decided we want to teach on. So that's what we are suggesting to you. What are all the problems your audience has? What's the main problem? What are the big categories or pillars or pain points? They're all the same thing. Category, topic, pillar, pain point. Choose the term that works for you. It's the same. That's holding that big problem in place, and start to address the pillars. Provide the solutions for the pillars. And when the pillars disappear, so will their main problem. And you become the expert. So I want to now move into up here how to shift from you're simply trying to write a post or do a reel into I'm an expert and now I'm giving you an expert tip. Can you hear? I know Carla can, but those of you watching, can you hear the difference in posture, in stature, in confidence? So, Carla, I'm going to share a little bit. I can remember when you were still batting around who you are. What are you an expert in? Do you remember when the shoe dropped, as they say, and you knew what you were an expert in?
I do. And, part of the exercise of going through and teaching different fundamentals each month last year really helped me to discover what I felt most passionate about. And so it was, near the end of the year, I'd say in and around October, I was like, I know what my sweet spot is and what it is that I really love to talk about. And that made it easier for me to make some decisions about what it is that I'm going to talk about and how I'm going to support my community in 2024, and really feeling confident that I can be an expert in that area. Do I know absolutely everything? Nope. But I know enough for my audience to support them, to move them through to the next level for themselves and for them to create some success in their business.
Yeah. So I'm a sales success strategist. That's my expertise. Carla's is, I don't know exactly how you say it, but productivity and automation expert.
Yeah.
She is. Okay. For those of you watching, when you think about solving the main problem, so I'm going to throw some stuff out there. Okay. If you're wanting to support business owners, you have to know that all they care about is sales? Really? Now, in Carla's case, she's supporting business owners. Yes, they want sales, but she is really niched down to help them make more sales through productivity is the word I'm looking for, right, and automation. I'm helping my business owners make more sales by providing sales strategies. Some people niche into social media alone. I just saw a post on Facebook as I was coming here, and the person is teaching a workshop on social media strategies. Okay, they're a social media strategist helping their clients make sales through social media. Okay, so you don't want to say, many of you have balked at saying you're a sales strategist because you're not making sales like you think you should. Okay, don't call yourself a sales strategist. What are you good at? Are you good at managing time? Are you a time management expert? Are you good at making connections? Are you a relationship and connections expert? Are you great at understanding how Facebook works? Are you a Facebook algorithm expert? Find your niche inside of sales. If you don't feel comfortable, like I do, calling yourself a sales success strategist, which please don't use that title, but you can be a sales maximizer expert. That works. Sales maximizer. Okay. Sales boosting expert, something along those lines. Marketing maven, marketing expert. Okay. If you are teaching people how to crochet, you're a crochet expert. It's pretty simple. If you're teaching people how to play guitar, you're a guitar virtuoso, perhaps, or not just a teacher, but a guitar mastery expert. You must find a way to call yourself an expert up here and out there. And the reason being is what people expect of an expert is that you're sharing the same type of content over and over again. Carla, anything you want to add in here on this?
I agree. That's very important to know who you are and how you're showing up. And for the longest time, I flip-flopped around, fearful of making a choice. What if it wasn't right? And having gone through that exercise of really discovering who I am and what settles with me, and then showing up, like I said, I don't need to know everything, but I can still be an expert in what it is that I know, and my audience is relative. So just an example, I'm not going to be speaking with people who are into the highest levels of automation because I'm not an expert in that area. But in comparison to somebody who's just getting familiar with how automation can work, or even framing automation, I'm an expert in that field because I have the experience to deliver that. So I agree with you. It's important for us to plant our flag, but to understand who it is that we're serving first, so that we can be the expert to serve that community.
For that, exactly. For the community that needs that help. If we have more than they have, we're their expert.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not, it's not like we're going in front of Gary Vaynerchuk, if everybody knows who that is, or Eric Worre, if you're in network marketing, and saying, I'm more expert than you are. Okay. People would laugh at that. But if you're going to your audience and they're still trying to get that problem solved, even if they follow Eric Worre, if you have a way to have solved it, if you're passionate about helping people with this problem, you're an expert too.
Yep.
And that is essential for you to feel comfortable doing an entire month of content on the same topic. Now, Carla, I'm going to bring automation, AI, into the conversation because it costs nothing to go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to create 30 quotes on a topic. So let's say, I'm not going to do yours. Let's say, um, how having, okay, so let's say one of my clients, their audience deals with their bad credit. They have bad credit, they deal with it all the time. And our audience is actually business owners who have bad credit. So I would go to ChatGPT and I would write in the prompt, please write 30 quotes about how having bad credit hurts your business. And ChatGPT would actually give me, in less than a minute, 30 different quotes. What we could do with that is gold. We could take one a day. We could go back to ChatGPT and we could say, let's say you're comfortable doing reels. You could say, write a reel for me, the script for a reel, based on this one quote. And it would. Or you can say, write a Facebook post for me, or an Instagram post, or a LinkedIn post. And it would. There is no reason anymore for us to say we do not know what to share, because ChatGPT will tell us. And then we just tweak it so it sounds like us. Carla, that's honestly, I'm doing this more and more to save my time as I'm putting more emphasis on building my audience. How about you? How are you creating content quickly?
Absolutely. I use Chat GPT, and not only just to create content, but we were talking about, wearing that badge of who we are. And it helped me to really discover who I am and who I could help and who my audience was. And for me to actually feel more connected to them, and like I can show up as that expert in the area just by asking questions to Chat GPT about that, about who I'm looking for, how I can serve them. I discovered some of the pillars and reframe that. And then for creating content, absolutely, like you said, asking about quotes, or maybe you're building your email list, so you're creating an ebook, and you're using Chat GPT to help you do that. And from there, you can be creating content that's moving people back to your ebook, which is moving people to your email list and into meetings with you, and so on and so forth. So really, you can create one piece of content and repurpose it. I used to think that I had to create something new all the time, and it had to be all sparkly and shiny. And like you said, Stacey, the way you explained that, you can repurpose because you're building your community, you're building your friends who are seeing what you have, and people need to see content over and over again for it to mean something, for them to be able to make a choice. And then use that same piece of content in a group, on your profile page, use it in your email, use it all over in your stories, use it all over the place. Don't spend your time making 1,000 different things for 1,000 different places.
No, and ChatGPT. So, like I said, with those 30 great ideas, by the way, with those 30 days of content or quotes, you could say, okay, now take these quotes, organize them into a 5-chapter ebook, and expand on the topic. Like that could be the prompt. I'm going to say it again. Take these 31 quotes, organize them into chapters for a 5-chapter ebook, and expand upon this content. And what you would get back from ChatGPT free is all the chapters for your ebook. And then you go to Canva and you use their AI to create a template to stick that content in with the graphics, and your ebook's done.
Yeah.
You could literally have an ebook done in less than an hour.
It's interesting that you mentioned Gary Vee, because I heard him speaking about AI. And if you're not using AI, it's like using the old fax machine, or it's like having a car in your driveway, but deciding you're going to walk everywhere. It doesn't depersonalize what you're doing. It really helps you to be more creative and more connected. And frankly, I feel like it's really boosted my confidence, because I read that and I go, okay, That's what I was thinking, but I couldn't kind of piece it all together. And now I can craft something. So when I'm talking about leveraging time with my community, this is one of the tools that I use to be able to do that. Gets me out of my own head and saves me time, and we get moving to where we want to go.
That's exactly it. So to recap, first, identify the pillars that are holding your audience's problem in place and reduce those pillars. So if you think there's 8, you can get it to 3 or 4. You don't want more than 4, because you want to be able to recycle through the year. Then you're going to consider all the different ways that you could repurpose this content. Are you going to put it in a group? Are you going to create an ebook? Are you going to create reels from it? How are you going to use it in addition to what you're posting? If you're doing it in writing, and where are you going to share with it, and what different sites? And then you're going to use ChatGPT or whatever other AI tool you have available to you that writes content. You're going to stick it in there, and then you're going to have, and I always say, if you don't have a Trello board to save it on, get Trello. But if you don't want, it's free. If you don't want Trello, then open up a Google Doc and start saving your feedback from ChatGPT so you can refer to it easily. And then plan to spend more time making connections with new people. Now that your time is freed up, you don't have to create a year's worth of content, which most people never did, but they would sit around and think about making that content and then never make relationships with other people. So I want to share with you, if you are now ready to start creating your content, great. We've told you exactly what to do. There's nothing else to give you about that. If you've got the time to now start making friends, you probably want to have access to my phenomenally profitable friend request recordings. Teaches you exactly what to do, step by step by step by step, from where to put your content, how to reach out to people, what to write to them, what to say when they accept your friend request, how to get them on a call and close them for an offer. If you're interested in that, reach out to me here. Tell me you're interested, and I will get that over to you. And Carla can share with you fabulous ways to automate even beyond using ChatGPT. So if you're interested in automation tools for communicating with people faster, sending out your content faster, responding to people faster, reach out to Carla, tag her here, and I know she will get in touch with you all about automation.
Absolutely.
All right, everyone. Carla, last final thoughts before we wrap?
Well, thank you for inviting me into the discussion today. It feels good to be here, and I've learned so much from you. And Stacey mentioned a Trello board. She introduced me to Trello, and it is a game changer. You don't like to use that expression, game changing, but truly, I do a lot of training now on Trello and point people towards that, because it has really streamlined my energy and my efforts for my business, and has allowed me to maximize the time that I use to work. And batching content, don't be scared. Just do it. Just play around with it and grow into it. I say just do it. I know there's a lot of things in and behind the limiting beliefs, and lean on Stacey's training inside of selling from your comfort zone, because this is what has really brought me to this place where I'm able now to serve my community as effectively as I want, to be able to find ownership in who I am and how I'm showing up to serve.
So, well, thank you for the shout out for the book and the love. When you read the book, you'll know that Carla was doing this before the book came out. Yes, I knew her before the book came out, but I'm telling you, I chose her as one of the case studies in the book because she was already this brilliant. And so take advantage. If you're here, you're watching, reach out to Carla. She is so lovely, and she will respond. Don't worry that she's going to say she doesn't have time. She makes the time.
She does.
And the most wonderful, because she schedules for success. And so
do.
you. All right. So I look forward to hearing, we both do. We want to hear what you feel about this training, what questions we left you with, and what you're going to take action on quickly. So, Stacey Hall and Carla Archer. Carla, I know you know what I'm about to say in closing. We wish you an abundance of sales, satisfaction,
Satisfaction
and
and
success
success.
today, every day, every week,
Week,
every
every
month,
month,
every
and every
year
year.
for all the years to come. We'll
That's
see you
right.
soon. Bye.